Hello everyone, welcome to Court with Krissy. Quick eviction case. And no, little Miss Mary, it's not too complicated. You haven't paid rent in a year. But, for some reason, I like the lady. Stick around towards the end. Judge Holmes has a great story. It should make you chuckle. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
Right, well, the next case will be 25-963. That's Weedemar LLC versus Mary Valdez. Do I have someone here on behalf of Weedemar?
Yes, Your Honor. Joseph Bays. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bays. And do I have someone here on behalf of Mary Valdez?
Can I speak?
Yes. Good morning, Miss Valdez. I can hear you.
Good. Yes, ma'am. This is a very complicated case.
Okay, look, Miss Valdez, Mr.
Yes.
Bays has to tell me why the case is happening, and then you absolutely get a chance to explain it, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. Mr. Bays, tell me why the eviction is being sought by the landlord.
It's for non-payment of rent, Your Honor. No rent's been paid since August 24. A monthly rent is $830. The original lease was from November 21 to October 22. Since then, Miss Valdez has been month to month. On April 14th, my client, Weedemar, gave a notice of non-renewal through fixing to the door and by email.
Of
Per the
what
lease
year?
of this year, Your
So
Honor,
she hadn't
25.
paid rent since August, but the landlord still gave her a non-renewal.
No, she gave it. She was month to month. The landlord just hasn't
I
saw.
get that, but just what I'm hearing, Mr. Bays, is that
Yeah.
October of 2022, the lease came to an end.
Yep.
And then it went month to month. So every month it renews. She
Correct.
stopped paying rent in August of last year,
Yes.
but the landlord didn't give her a notice of non-renewal until April of this year.
You're correct,
So
Your Honor.
August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, 8 months of nothing. And then we're not renewing as opposed to a notice to move out.
Oh, we gave a notice of non-renewal and then a notice to vacate after that. So she gave her 30 days to kind of get her affairs in order. And then after that, on May, I believe it was May 15th, that's when she became a holdover. And at that point, we gave, on June 2nd, we served the 3-day notice to vacate.
So in April, y'all said it's not renewing. She had until the end of May to get out. She didn't. So you gave her her 3-day notice on June 2nd.
That's correct.
Okay. Was there any subsidy on the 830?
No.
All right. I'm curious, Mr. Bays, what is your plaintiff seeking?
Rent since she stopped paying in August 24. Rent's $830 a month.
What was the reason for the delay of 8 months?
I'm not sure, Your Honor. I think Ms. Valdez has been there for a while. I think she was paying beforehand, so my client, for whatever reason, allowed to kind of slip longer. But obviously, it hasn't been paid in a long time now.
Were any partial payments made since August of last year?
No, a ledger was included. I think as A3, one of our exhibits. No partial, and of course, we're only seeking the rent today, not any late fees or anything like that.
Well, that's by law. In addition to rent, are you seeking anything for fees?
Yeah. I believe my fees were $3,000, Your Honor.
For what? With all due respect, Mr. Bays, this is a very simple eviction for non-payment. It took 2 pieces of paper. What is $3,000 in your fees?
That's just what my client incurred going back and forth with our office and with me. But
with all due respect, love lawyers. I won one. I want to give you what I can't in good faith give $3,000 on what is really $1,000. We could talk, right? I give you 4 hours at $250 or something, but I just can't get there, especially given that your client definitely could have gotten to the situation a lot faster. Now, I appreciate it maybe that there's a reason for that. So I understand Ms. Valdez. We want to hear from her. All right, Mr. Bays, thank you. You've answered all my questions.
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Ms. Valdez, Mr. Bays is here, and he's here representing the landlord. And what the landlord is saying is that this is a non-payment matter, ma'am. So you've behaved well in your apartment, but they said that rent has been behind. So the first question is the rent every month $830?
he's not telling you the whole story.
Ms. Valdez,
Uh,
I want to
he-
hear the story. My first question is,
the-
how much is
okay.
the monthly rent?
She told me in April that the rent was gonna be $11.85.
Sure, but what was it when you signed your lease in November of 2021, ma'am?
$8.30 back then, yes.
$830. Okay, and what's the last time you paid rent in the amount of $830?
The last time I paid rent was last year. I had been paying for every single month when I got a notice from the prior owners that I owed them $10,000. That's where all the confusion came in. I went and personally talked to them and I said what was going on. And they said they were charging me late fees and they were not applying my rent toward my rent.
I'm not worried about the late fee. So let me, Ms. Valdez, we can work through this quicker. How do you normally pay your rent? Do you write a check? Do you pay with a credit card?
Money orders. I was doing money orders and I told Crystal the whole information. She said she was going to check into it. So I assumed I was getting credit for those $10,000 that I had paid.
Ms.
That's
Valdez,
what I assumed
Ms.
because
Valdez,
there was no communication.
Ms. Valdez, when's the last time you provided a money order to the landlord?
Last July
Last
to
July.
the prior landlord.
Okay, so it would be correct, Mr. Bays is correct, that you have not delivered any checks to the landlord since August of 2024.
Correct.
Okay,
Because I thought I was getting credit again. I thought I was getting credit for the money that was taken because they did say that the other guy had embezzled that money. They're all aware of that.
Ms.
They're
Valdez,
aware of this, so I'm just kind of a little upset that they're not telling you the whole truth.
well, I'm trying to get there, Ms. Valdez. So me asking you questions, I'm going to redirect and ask a few to the plaintiff's counsel again. But here's my question. You agree that you have not paid rent since August of last year?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will not lie
You
on that.
stopped paying rent, which you believe you've already prepaid that rent.
Yes.
Okay. Had you been writing checks for twice the monthly rent in the months before that?
No, ma'am.
Has there been any month since November of 2021 where you paid more than $830?
Yes. That's when I had paid from then to 2024 $10,000.
No, that's not what I'm asking, Ms. Valdez. Do you have more than one money order each month for $830? Or did you ever get a money order for, say, $1,660 or for any number higher than $830?
Every month was $830. I was paying $830 every month. I was sending in every month my rent.
And they agree with that. What they said is you stopped paying in August of last year,
Yes,
and you said the
yes.
same thing. So my
Yes.
question is, if you believed you had paid in excess, do you have proof that you'd paid more than $830 a month? Because if you only paid $830 every month, then you can't have paid in advance. You've only been paying current. And if you stopped in August, then you are behind on the rent.
Well, that's where I'm a little confused because what happened to that money
That you paid for
that
your
I
rent,
was
ma'am.
paying?
Every month you gave them $830, and that covered the
Yes.
upcoming month. And then
Yes.
you stopped paying in August.
Yes.
So you owe the money for August and every month since August of 2024.
Well, I guess if they're not going to give me credit for the other money.
Ms. Valdez, I'm not sure how you would have gotten credit for additional money if you had not paid more than $830 each month. So before August of last year, was there a month where you paid more than $830?
No,
Then
no.
it's not possible you paid in advance, Ms. Valdez. So I do find that it's correct that the plaintiff's assertion, as you've acknowledged, you have not paid rent since August of last year. Okay, all right. So August, September, October, November, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. We're at 11 and 12. Ooh, a whole year at the amount, huh? Judgment for the plaintiff, $9,960.
Oh my God.
Ms. Valdez, I find that that is rent for the last 12 months at the amount of $830. There's no late fees in that per the judgment today. The landlord, I'd say, Ms. Valdez, I'm going to encourage you to go and talk to legal aid about it. In addition to the $9,960 in rent, I will award $1,000 in attorney's fees. Mr. Baez has presented his case successfully. He's had all the information ready to go, and the notices were sent. The only additional money that you would owe, Ms. Valdez, is there's a small cost of court, which is usually about $100 or so. Either party can appeal my decision. I would set the appeal bond at 3 times the rent, $2,490. Ms. Valdez?
May I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I told her when there's a lot of violations going on in this apartment, and I showed her in April. I've been without AC all month. I'm on dialysis. I have a lot of health issues. I've texted her and emailed her, and they're refusing to fix the AC. Why can they get away with that when
Because you're behind on the rent. Ms. Valdez,
Yeah, so they don't have to.
That's the answer.
They don't have to
Texas
fix
law-
my AC.
No, because you haven't paid them the rent. Texas law
Well,
is really
they're
strict
going to
on
be in
this.
trouble with the
They're
the
not in
Texas
trouble.
board.
That's the
I
problem,
already
Ms.
called.
Valdez.
I already called, and they're not.
Please
They
contact
told me it's
legal aid
against the
then.
law for her not to fix my AC.
Air conditioning is not considered a health or safety issue in Texas for the most part. If your lawyer thinks they've got a claim, call them today and ask them about it. But typically, I don't find that's ever sustainable unless it is with infants or a nursing home. We have a prison that's still on air conditioning in the state.
So if you have health issues, that doesn't matter.
Texas says you're a grown person, you can walk outside.
That's why the landlords
know.
are the way they are.
I-
They take advantage of the
Valdez,
customers.
I don't disagree with you. I once had a judge when I was an attorney who told me the exact same thing that I just said to you, counselor. Air conditioning isn't required in Texas. We settled this country in a wagon. And then, with love and respect to that judge, he canceled court the next week when the air conditioner went out in his building. You can't
So
make
if
that
there's
up.
a-
So, Ms.
if there's a
Valdez,
fire-
I absolutely empathize.
If there's a fire here due to the furnace, they're not liable.
Fires and furnaces are different than air conditioners. You have to have heat.
Well,
in
the furnace, I told her the furnace, the gas company has tagged it 3 times.
Ms.
3
Valdez,
times.
please contact one of those legal aid providers and get assistance in the next 5 days. Do not hesitate to do that. I'm going to give you the
Okay.
final information, okay?
So where do I go from here?
Ms. Val, I'm trying to explain that, okay?
Okay.
You have 5 days beginning tomorrow to appeal or get help from legal aid. I would, not advice, just information. Don't wait till day 5. Today,
Okay.
call. And when you call them, say, I was evicted this morning. Judge Holmes signed the order. I have been evicted. I have 5 days to appeal. That way they will understand that you have very little time to get this fixed and to find a new place. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
We will email you when you checked in. Did we get a good email address from you?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Ms. Valdez. When you checked into court, did my clerk get an email address from you?
I gave them the email address. They just never sent anything to me.
No, Ms. Valdez. I'm asking today when you arrived in this session.
Oh, yeah, I gave it to the people earlier.
Fantastic. Then we will email you this afternoon, just after lunch. You're going to get a copy of your
Okay.
order, and it's going to include information about appealing
Okay.
and legal aid that you can call.
Okay.
If you don't do anything, if you just did nothing, 5 days beginning tomorrow, on day 6, that's the soonest the landlord can legally come in and make you move and remove your items.
Okay.
Okay.
And if I appeal it,
You can arrange to make payment with the landlord. You can talk to legal aid about options. You have several things ahead of you. But if you don't do anything, 6 days from now, the landlord would be able to come in and take back possession of the unit. Okay, ma'am?
so they're going to come and kick me out in 5 days, basically, if I don't appeal it.
That's the soonest they can do it. The law says they have up to 60 days to do it. And since the landlord has taken an entire year to evict you for non-payment, I don't know what that means about how long.
Well, you got to remember, they weren't in charge a year ago.
Okay,
Like I said, the other people took the money.
that might be part of it. Ms. Valdez, very good luck to you, ma'am. Please remember, we're going to email you this afternoon with information. Reach out to those providers and let them know your situation. But if you don't do anything, you have at least 5 more days beginning tomorrow. Today is not part of that 5. Okay.
Okay.
Good luck,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Knight, thank you as well.
Can I get out of the meeting?
Yes, Ms. Valdez. All parties are
Okay.
excused now.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a
Thank
great
you,
morning.
sir. I appreciate
Take
it.
care.
Have a good morning, sir.
You too.
I don't know.
Good luck to everyone.
Thanks.
Then we're going to be 25971